ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते रमपदस्वामिनिधे नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधे नामिने। Hare Krishna. So we are continuing the book Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and we are in chapter 14, I think, on page 135. So, in continuation to that, the Lord said to Sanatana Goswami that the association of good devotees, engagement in the transcendental service of the Lord, understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, and chanting the holy name of the Lord, as well as residing in a place like Vrindavan or Mathura, these five things are very important for elevating oneself to the transcendental plane. Not to speak of attaining all the five, if one becomes expert in one of them, then he also is without fail elevated to the stage of love of Godhead. But anyone who is actually intelligent should give up all other desires and engage himself in the transcendental service of Krishna. The influence of devotional service is such that a person so engaged gives up all material desires and becomes fully attached to taking shelter unto Krishna, being moved by the transcendental qualities of the Lord. That is the beauty of the Lord to his devotee. Another meaning of Atma is nature. Atma Rama means that everyone is enjoying the particular nature he has acquired. However, the ultimate nature or the perpetual eternal nature of the living entity is to serve the Supreme Lord. Anyone who attains to the perfection of understanding his real nature, of eternally being the servitor of the Lord, gives up his designated material or bodily conception of life. That is real knowledge. Those who are in pursuit of Krishna, those who are in pursuit of knowledge and getting the opportunity of associating with the pure devotee also become engaged in devotional service of the Lord. Sages like the four Kumaras, as well as the fools and the birds, can be engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. Being favored by Krishna's causeless mercy, everyone can be elevated to the standard of Krishna consciousness. One becomes attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna and begins his devotional service. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 15th chapter, in glorifying the land of Vrindavan. This land, Vrajabhumi, is glorified by the touching of your soul. By the touching of your fingers, the creepers also glorify you. By your looking on the hills and the rivers and the lower animals, they are all glorified. And so, for the gopis are concerned, they being embraced by your transcendental arms are also glorified. The gopis glorified Vrindavan and the following words. My dear friends, all these inhabitants of Rajabhumi, including the birds, beasts, and trees, everyone, while seeing Lord Krishna going to the pasturing ground with his friends, accompanied by Baladeva and singing in their flutes, all are glorified. The Lord said that Atma also means this body. The yogis who practice bodily exercises, considering the body as the self, also are elevated to the transcendental service of the Lord. If they are associated with pure devotees, they are many persons who have the concept of this body being the self. They are engaged in many kinds of ritual activities, including bathing rituals and ordinary worldly activities. But they come in contact with a pure devotee, they also engage themselves in the transcendental service of the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 18th chapter, it is stated, O my dear Sutta Goswami, you have given us the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet. Although we have become darkened by the sacrificial smoke of these fruit activities, the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 21st chapter states, the Ganges water is flowing from the tip of the lotus feet of Krishna. And by bathing in that Ganges water, everyone, including the fruit actors and all the sages, are washing that dirty things from within the mind. Those who are in the concept of the body as a self, or those who are full of material desires, are also called in a sense Atma Rama. When they are associated with the pure devotees of the Lord, they give up their material desires and become perfect in the service of the Lord. The best example of this is found in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. In connection with the character of Dhruva, in the 7th chapter, 28th verse, it is stated by Maharaj Dhruva, My dear Lord, I came to worship you desirous of having some land on this earth. But fortunately, I have you who are beyond the perception of great sages and saintly persons. I came to search out some particles of colored glass, but I have found instead of a very valued gem like you. I am satisfied. I have no desire to ask you anything. There is another meaning to the word Nigrahanta, foolish hunter, or wretched poor man. Such a hunter also got salvation and engaged himself in the devotional service of the Lord by associating of the pure devotee Narada. The following story is about this hunter's meeting with Narada. There was a hunter in the forest of Prayag who was fortunate enough to meet Narada while he was coming back from Vaikuntha after visiting Lord Narayana. Narada came to Prayag to bathe in the confluence of the Ganges and the Yamuna. While passing through the forest, he saw a bird laying on the ground, half killed and pierced by an arrow. It was chirping piteously. At another place, he saw a deer flapping in agony. In another place, he saw that a boar was suffering. And in another place, he saw a rabbit flapping in pain. All this made him very compassionate, and he began to think, who is the foolish man that has committed such sinful activities? A devotee of the Lord is generally compassionate for the miseries of the living entities. And so, what to speak of great Narada? He became very aggrieved by the sense. And after proceeding a few steps, he saw the hunter engaged in hunting with his bow and arrows. The hunter's complexion was very black, and his eyes were red, and it was dangerous even to see him standing there with his bow and arrows, just like an associate of Yamaraja, death. Seeing him in that position, Narada Muni entered deeper into the forest and approached him. And while Narada Muni was passing through the forest, all the animals that were caught in the hunter's trap fled away. The hunter became very angry over this, and he was just going to call Narada wild names, but by the influence of Narada, who was such a saintly person, the hunter could not utter all names. Rather, while gently behavior, he inquired from Narada, My dear sir, why have you come before me while I am hunting? Are you astray from the general path? By your coming here, all the animals assembled in my trap have now fled away. I will stop here. So, the in continuation of this summary, I mean, like the understanding of the word Atma in this context, Prabhupada explaining different meanings of the Atma. So here uh, we need to have some endeavor in order to uh, continue or in order to have the association. Somehow or the other, we will get the association or the taste or initial thing to the devotional service. But we need to put our endeavor. Uh, Even Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everything says very clearly when you associate with the pure devotee, and in continuation to that, when we have the continuous endeavor, then only you will see the progress in the devotional service. We have seen different examples in this context today. Dhruva Maharaj has a desire in order to have land for his ruling. He went to all the way to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he realized that okay, this is I came for broken glass, but I got a jewels. That's what he concluded. That means initially we will start with a small desire, but later the desire will goes away when we understand the complete science. When you are able to understand it, that will goes away. Even like Narada Muni have changed the hunter into a devotee. Later he is, after the story says, Later, the hunter who is hunting different animals, uh, he became a devotee, and not only devotee, he is to worry even to step on the small ant, because he have cultivated those type of feelings on those small animals as well, because he knows that he realized that the super soul is present in that animal. So see, that is the power of the pure devotee. Narada Muni changed him like that. So similarly in our life also, when we continue uh, to associate, and when we develop the feelings and the relationship from our gurus, pure devotees, and association, then it's very easy to continue in the devotional service for long run. And in addition to that, whatever the ups and downs are there, whatever the things will be there, those will be managed. Krishna will be putting into some trouble so that we can realize the importance of the God. That's it. Other than that, there is no nothing in the back end. But people will see some worriness, but it is not required. So this is the whole